So zoning is probably one of the most essential also concepts. I think zoning is a very basic concept, just like simultaneous attack and defense, which kind of teaches timing concepts. Zoning teaches generally attacking an area, manipulating, limiting the motion of an area. Sometimes in Wing Chun, what they do is they divide into a box, and they say these are the four corners. If the lead side is the opposite of the shoulder, that's forward. So in this case, this would be perhaps his high outside. This would be his low outside. Outside meaning away from that hand, away from the space between both his hands. And this would be perhaps the low inside and the high inside. And if he switches, same thing. Right now, I've already put myself more dealing with the outside. I'm facing this arm from the outside of it, meaning kind of the back side of the hand. And so it's controlling what attacks he can do with his hand. If I'm here, I'm within a straight punch. You know, I'm within a hook, I'm within that, I'm within this hand hooking. There's a lot of options he can do here. He can grab me, you know. If I move out here now, and he hasn't, the way we relate to each other now, I'm in his outer zones. And the way he can defend. So for example, if I do a hit this way, that hand isn't going to protect, it's this hand because I'm on this outer zone. And then I can kind of anticipate that movement. There's a limited block he could do in that position. Same thing if it was this way, you know, there's a limited block he can do. If I was holding a blade, there's limited options because of where he is in terms of what zone I'm attacking. And so for Wing Chun, let's say he was a Wing Chun practitioner. So now you have to square off facing more. Okay, it's important in Wing Chun that we maintain this sort of squared off thing because they're sort of facing each other. If I strike and he moves my outside, I no longer have my ability to trap and use his hand for all those various trapping techniques. Because if you realize, again, if Wing Chun isn't incorporating body movements to do simultaneous attack and defense moves, and Wing Chun is trapping primarily with one hand and striking with the other, you have to have both hands. Meaning that if he shifts, I need to face him still, because I need to have these two hands to deal with the threats. If he goes down now towards my outside, he zones out, then I'm stuck with only one tool to defend against two of his hands. And in the same way, I always want to zone out. I always want to make him not have both his hands. Because same thing, if I'm in this situation and I maybe control this hand, he punches that hand, I have to worry about two objects, two issues here. If I can zone out, I'm cutting out one tool out of the equation. I'm limiting the amount of options he has. So you always want to zone out. And in Wing Chun, it's important then to understand, depending on how you attack your zone, and you throw a swing or something and I try to do that. Okay, good, I didn't get hit, because I did a little slight slip. He went over my head. If I didn't and I just went straight like that, I don't think you could stop that force, which is a Wing Chun. I don't like that. But let's say I did do that. But let's say now this hand's coming. Okay, it depends. Like if I can zone properly, if his hand's up, you know, and he is on the defensive here. You know what I'm saying? If I've switched the tempo now to where if I swing, he's paying attention. So that's where it gets challenging. I feel that trying to do this aggressive method, it's challenging. Like striking is not always the best. In my personal, I would prefer that if I did successfully slip this punch and land a hit, rather than trying to land another hit, I would just go ahead and trap this arm. Because yes, if he does throw the swing and we both swing, if we both swing and I move and continue moving like a boxer, that's great. But now you've switched systems and switched methodology because Wing Chun is trying to focus on checking. And in order to check, you have to understand the zones. Let's say, for example, I kick or something. Most people, they're going to, let's say, what would you do if I did kick? You would lift your leg? Yeah. Okay. But he kept his hand right there in the middle, kind of close to his body, which when we talk about the fourth point, I'll discuss. So it's already kind of pressed up against him. I didn't really have to, it wasn't here and I had to worry about it landing straight at me. It wasn't like it could go this way or this way, it was already here. So I'm looking at the zones, how do I zone? It's fine for me to zone out, it's bad if he zones out me. I want to travel around him, circle him, I want to limit his weapons, but I need to make sure as a Wing Chun practitioner I always have two weapons ready to defend. If I was more further down on his outside and I throw a punch, it wouldn't be that block, you know what I'm saying? So in the same way we do this now, I would set up this way. So that's what I'm saying, I'm attacking the high outside or the high inside, you have to look at which zone you're in. This concept of basically moving around, focusing on an area, you know, and attacking it with my two hands are attacking this one area. You see, I do this, I'm attacking this low outside, he does that, this hand and this hand are utilizing to attack this area, and can then check it. Okay, so what is checking? Checking is what they don't allow in boxing. When you see in boxing, boxers grab each other's hands, that's what's not allowed. But in Wing Chun, in a real life fight, you can. And checking is obviously, I think, essential if you want to master grappling, because if you have to get past their hands, if you have to understand how to zone and check, you can safely get around the opponent or grab the opponent and limit his options. Just checking essentially is basically just, some people call it jamming. Like, in the same sense that you probably have seen this too, if you've taken Taekwondo, perhaps you kick and I kick. We both try to kick each other, and this is what happens. Both our legs have checked each other, and when we go close, maybe we end up like this. That is a check. We are both checking each other's arm. Arms are kind of useless at this moment. They're just pushing up against each other. They've kind of jammed against each other. A leg check could just be perhaps me putting my leg up next to his, which now I know this leg won't kick me. So a check can just be generally like, I mean, even a check, this is even a check. Let's say we were in this position where my hand's on the inside. I'm trying to stop him from being able to create a inside sweep. This is still a check. It's the same thing as when you see perhaps in sword fighting. When his hands are high, my hands can go low. Because for him now striking me from a high position, his hands have to come down. And same thing if his hand is, for example, if you have a very wild stance, let's say you do this. In this case, this hand to strike me from that low outside zone, it has to come up if it wants to hit my face. And so I can just check from above. So you kind of, that's why in Wing Chun they kind of say to keep your weapons and tools kind of straight, centered, so that they're not too crossed over your body, too far on the outside, because you don't want to easily allow someone to check your hand. And so same thing, if a boxer does this, realistically at this particular juncture, he only has two options. If a boxer is going to throw a straight punch, which you see, or he's going to do a hook. Because they're so high up. If I go in like this or something, like I can already just pre-slip this one. Like I already know this is going to come straight. I might as well just go ahead and pre-check it. If it does come at me, I might as well just start zoning towards the outside and slip it anyway. So it's like taking care of the whole possible situation this would do. The only other thing this thing can do is now circle around. And I'm now moving away from that weapon. And I can go ahead and check that one from the outside. So now if he does swing, I'm already pushing down, I can guide it down. And then cross his arm. And even if now this arm circles around, like I said, I can keep moving, I am checking constantly. And that can be in another video I can discuss on advanced checking. So you're on the defensive, and I go like this, okay? He does that, and perhaps I might want to check the hand. This is not a check. Because I am just trying to control the motion of that arm. I'm trying to limit that tool. If I do this now, you don't want to block. Maybe he does that. And I push that one down, and now he's checked, he's crossed. I've crossed his arms. We're just trapping in Wing Chun. Why would you check? Because you want to prevent getting hit. If it wasn't Wing Chun, let's for example, you see an ultimate fight, I may want to rush in. Let's say he's really good swinging, say you're throwing swings. And as a ultimate fighter, I just want to rush in because when I'm here, I'm preventing getting hit. If I'm switch that. You know, if I'm underneath this arm and I'm trying to do an attack, but if you push up against, keep your head up, I'm underneath the arm, it's not going to hit me. By checking it, like by basically doing this motion even, I'm limiting what you can do with this arm. So it's a way of preventing hit. It's the same thing if in wrestling, I grab him like this. This arm now is not going to punch me. I have to worry about one less thing to deal with. So now I'm in a traditional stance, he's southpaw. And let's say I'm trying to check. Some ways to check would be in Wing Chun is you just go off your strikes. If we're in a fight and I'm the aggressor, I've taken initiative and I've thrown a punch, okay? Wing Chun, some basic Wing Chun checks are just these. And all these times you see it's constantly trying to trap him so I can punch him. You can just use your techniques or your strikes to manipulate the opponent and trap him. If his hand's like this right now, one hand's kind of higher right now, if you guys can see, this poses opportunities. I can check like this. You know, I can purposely, like, just like in boxing even, let's say because this hand's low, I throw a low feint. Say I throw a low feint, but really I'm trying to do a 1-2 punch, you know? It's the same thing, but in Wing Chun, when I do that, there's no rule, I can go ahead and push his hand down. If you do notice, there is one common trait. Pick up any book on Wing Chun even, and you will see there's one consistent pattern, is that it doesn't matter, let's say for example, I do this, and I pull this down, and I say I throw another strike, okay, and I pull down. There's always one consistent thing. I'm on the outside of his arm. I'm zoning out. If I don't know, let's say you throw a jet punch, and I parry, and I move down inward, okay, I'm on the outside. I would have to check the hand. Yeah, so when you check, you always want to be on the outside because when you're on the outside, you're safe from that attack, the other arm. You always zone out. Because technically, when you zone out, you're crossing his arm. Like his arm is already so close to the chest, it may be better for me to just go over here and push it. And now I'm zoned out. I'm facing his high outside, pushing his hand against his chest. I've limited this weapon. So you always zone out. If you zone inward, obviously then I'm putting myself in between both of his weapons.